I mean, it's just great to be in the playoffs, right? That's what you work hard for all season, to give yourself an opportunity. And I think we got a good matchup playing Maine here. They're a good quality hockey team, and so are we. So we should expect a good match.
Maine, the team that you guys have seen a lot of, played 8 overtimes against them. What are some of the big keys for you guys heading into this series?
I mean, I think we just got to make sure we show up and start on time. I mean, they're a very gifted hockey team. You got to give kudos to them. They finished second in our division, and they've been playing really good hockey. So I think the big keys is showing up on time, making sure we stay physical, and keep ourselves in a position where we can win a hockey game every night.
Down the stretch, you guys had a ton of call-ups. You had a couple guys injured, but now you look at the roster. You got Philman back, Vandalese back. Had got 3 guys back last week. Geraldo gets back in the lineup. How big is this just for you guys to get key guys back in the lineup heading to the playoffs?
It's great. Obviously, getting we get 5 guys sent down to us that have been with the team at points throughout the year. They're a big part of our lineup, but ultimately it takes the 4 lines and the guys that aren't in the lineup as well that are going to help this team be successful.
Besides the AHL guy, just talking about the depth pieces, Karapis, the Lovens, the Edwards. How big of a piece? How big have they been for you guys? Just knowing how deep you guys are.
It's great. It's your young guys are the ones that are gonna help you be successful in the playoffs. They got the young legs, lots of energy, and you kind of steer them and guide them in the right way. And they've had all year to learn to play Adirondack Thunder hockey. So when they're in the lineup, we should expect big things from them.
What's your message to a guy like Mitchell Becker, a guy coming just out of college, played 6 games with you guys here, and now experienced his first Kelly Cup playoff run here?
Soak it in. Obviously, you're here for a reason. They like what they saw, so do what you've been doing to keep your job in the 6 games that you had. So if he gets an opportunity on the ice, he's a big body, he's simple, he plays hard. So a guy like him, just soak it in and enjoy every moment.
Obviously, you guys, Maine has home ice in this series. You've been around the playoffs a long time. How big is it for you guys to come back here at least 1-1?
I mean, that's the goal of every playoff series. When you start on the road, you want to make sure you split and get a 1-1, and obviously the 2-3-2 here gives us an opportunity to do some damage here. So going in there, you got to try to win one. You want to win both, but obviously playoffs have a lot of ups and downs. So whatever comes our way, we just got to be ready to bat it back.
You've been here a while. You've been here for the season. You've seen these fans. They showed their support on the road, but just how important, not only for the first 2 games of Maine, but how excited are you to play a playoff game in front of these fans on the next Wednesday night?
I'm super excited. It's going to be loud. It's going to be very exhilarating. And obviously, like I said earlier, playoff hockey, the fans seem to up the decimal level a little bit. It doesn't matter where you play, but here I'm very excited to see them banging on the glass and seeing a nice thunder clap.
You saw the last weekend, you guys picked up points in each of those last 3 games. There's a couple struggles down the stretch, but how big is it for you guys just to know that you guys got points in those last 3 games, even though the points really don't matter in the playoffs here?
Obviously you want to go in on a high note going into playoffs. You want everyone having confidence. Obviously, we had some guys come in and out of the lineup, give some rest going into playoffs, and got to look at some other guys. But I think we're right there, and we should be focused on just winning, trying to get to game 1.
Thinking back to your first time playing playoffs in this league to now, how different are you as a player, as a person, just in general? It's been probably 10 plus years.
Well, obviously the gray hair kind of gives it away, but I mean it's a little different when you're coming in as a rookie. You're nervous, right? You don't want to do anything that's going to hurt the team. So, and as an older guy, you kind of know what to do, what not to do, and you're just kind of there to make sure everyone stays on the right task, right focus, and go into every game and every shift that, this could be the difference, be getting this puck out or getting this puck in or being physical. It could be the difference in winning that game.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Tyson, you're a guy who comes into this series playing well. You played really well against Maine in the regular season. How is that going to translate into the postseason play?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you just hopefully it translates right away. You just want to stick to the game plan, whatever you can do to help the team win. And if I can pop in a couple, that would be good.
We talked about all year the experience. This team's got a ton of experience. You've got 500 games. You look at guys like Gray, you've got Taylor. And then you've got the younger guys like Becker. The depth on this team, anywhere from AHL guys just coming out of college. What's kind of the message on this team heading into the Kelly Cup playoffs?
Yeah, I think just sticking together. I think if we stick together and we stay disciplined, I think we can make a big run all the way to the Kelly Cup final and win a championship. I believe in this group. I love the guys, love the team, and I think just being an older guy too, just helping out, a little advice here and there goes a long way. And I think if we stick together, like I said, I think we can do something special.
The depth on this team all year has been great. You guys got even more help with Philman coming down, Vandalese coming down. You guys got a couple AHL guys down here. A lot of good ECHL players like Van Salhini. how much does the depth help you guys in a series like this?
Oh, depth is huge. I mean, it's going to be a tough battle out there, and you never know what's going to happen with injuries and all that. So depth plays a huge role. Like, you have to be willing to step in and play that fourth line role. You got to be willing to step in and maybe get some power play time. Like, we have the depth. Any guy can really play anywhere, and I think that's a real bonus to our team.
A team like Maine, you guys have played 8 overtime games this year. What's kind of the big keys for you guys heading into this series, especially with first two games on the road?
I think honestly discipline. I think if 5-on-5, I think we can do a really good job against them. I think their power play is really good. They have some offensive threats, so I think if we stay disciplined out of the box and play 5-on-5 hockey, I think we'll take this one.
Looking at the top guys like McGrannis, Philman, and Salhaney, how big are they going to be in this series?
Yeah, I mean, all those guys are big parts of our team, and for sure. And I think those guys, I mean, in playoffs it's a little different. Their guys are going to be playing hard against our top guys, and I think that's where like the depth comes in, the depth scoring. And I think they're obviously going to be a big part in our offense, and if they kind of get shut out one night, that's when we need other guys to step up and chip in as well.
As fans, they missed out on the Kelly Cup playoff run last year. This year, we've seen it all year. They've been on the road, they've been at home. How excited are you just to not only to be in this building for Game 3, but just to see the fans and support they're going to bring to you guys in in Maine?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think it's going to be the best rink in the ECHL, like by far. We were talking about that earlier, actually. Like, no building really scares us because our building is just so loud and out there. So I think like we're going to have advantage when teams come to our rink. And I think just when we go to the other rinks, like it's nothing we haven't seen before. So we're excited for those games at home.
Does it help just seeing those fans, the amount of times they travel to see you guys play on the road this year?
Oh yeah, the support's incredible. I said it lots of times. I've been around the league a long time, and it's the best fans in the ECHL. I'm not just saying that. I know everyone says it, but the support, the travel, what they do, the belief in our group, we're excited to get going here.
You've played a couple of Kelly Cup playoff runs. What's your message to you guys who haven't been in this atmosphere before?
Actually, no, this is my first one, to be honest. I've been around a while, but this is my first one making the Kelly Cup playoffs. So, I mean, I've been in playoffs in junior and in England, but not in the ECHL. But I think it's kind of the same thing. Any playoffs you play, you just want to, discipline. You got to play the right way. You got to stick to team structure. It's kind of where the individuality gets out of the game, and you play more as a team. And the teams that do that are the teams that win.
Last week of the regular season, you guys picked up points in all 3 of those games. A couple guys got some rest. How big was it, not only for guys just to get rest, but for you guys just to pick up a couple points and go in to the playoff with some momentum here?
Yeah, exactly. No, it was huge to rest some of those guys, and it was also big to have some adversity. We came back late against Worcester the one game, and then we had a lead, and they came back on us. So it's like, I think just having those like games that are tight going into the playoffs, that's what the playoffs is going to be. So I'm kind of happy those games happened instead of being like a 5-6-0 win or loss. Like, and we're resting everyone. I thought it was a good idea, and it helped us, I think, to face that adversity late in the season, going into the playoffs, and you kind of build the habits that you have to going into the Kelly Cup playoffs.
Like you said, the third period, when you guys have been trailing and going to the third period, you guys have struggled, and only a handful of wins. But this weekend, came back both times in the third. How big just is that as a confidence boost? Just kind of looking at, hey, now we know we can do this.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing, is just building habits, and now when you know you can do it and you really believe, then that's the most important thing. So, you can say it, but if you haven't done it all year, it's hard to believe in it. But now that we've shown and we believe we can do that, now I think that's going to help us in playoffs in those situations. If we come down by a goal late in the third, we know we can believe and come back.
All 4 teams here in the North Division have great goaltending. You guys, Broder and Brennan, look at a team like Maine, guy like Luke Cavlin, who won the Kelly Cup last year, Broward Nice has had a great year. How big is it just for you guys going to try to keep a low-scoring game in Maine?
Yeah, I mean, it's a goaltending league. Usually every team has like an NHL contracted goalie, if not 2. So, I mean, it's just going to be, it's going to be key for us to get in the paint, get the eyes, get some dirty goals. You're not going to beat some of those good goalies clean a lot of times. And I think if we just get some dirty area goals, I think we'll be fine.
Special teams, that's going to play a huge part in this series.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Our penalty kill has to be good, and our power play has to be good. Usually in the playoffs, special teams, what wins you the series?
You guys started to find your way on the PK and the power play as of late. How big of a confidence is it just to net a couple in the power play before the playoffs started?
Oh yeah, it's huge. Like I said before, just believing and having that confidence goes a long way. You just want to play good hockey coming into the playoffs, and now it's a new season starts on Friday. So I think if our special teams is rolling, we'll have a good chance.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Vandalise and Philman both come down. Philman, a guy you guys haven't seen since December, January. How big does it help adding a guy like him to your roster right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think all those guys should be playing big parts in our playoff run here. Obviously, guys that maybe didn't spend a ton of time here this year, but have ties to our team, whether it was last year or at points this year. So we're looking forward to having them back.
Yeah, Flute's talked about it from the second he got here, wanting to get back to this point. Just how satisfying is it to get to this point? How excited are you guys to be playing playoff hockey again?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, that's always the goal of every season is to play playoff hockey, and obviously we missed it last year, and we're so excited to get back. And I think just the makeup of our team and just the way we play, it's a playoff style that we've played all year, so we're excited to see it excel in playoffs.
As a captain, what's kind of the message to your team here heading into game 1 of the playoffs?
Yeah, I think don't overcomplicate it, right? Don't try and win it in one shift, and just play like we have been. We've seen what makes us successful, and try not to get away from that or do too much. Obviously, it's emotional time, and every shift you feel like added pressure's on, but at the same time, we just want to go out there and play our game.
You talked about the difference of the makeup. Experience is one thing you guys have really added this year. How much does it help having guys like Jake Graves and Justin Taylor, two guys that have been through a couple college and playoff rounds, to be on this team and add the experience to you guys?
Yeah, it's awesome, right? Having Tails and Gravy, guys like Foss, Sal, Broads even back there. All those games played. I think every guy's been on winning teams and losing teams, and just seeing what it's taken to make deep runs in playoffs. And they've dealt with adversities throughout their careers, so it obviously helps to have all that experience to lean on.
You're obviously a guy who's been around for playoff runs. What does it take? Put into words what it takes to win playoff-style hockey games when everything's just magnified.
Yeah, like you said, I think just being willing to do the little things, right? It's that extra hit, it's that extra 2 strides to get the puck over the red line and dump it in. Just doing that 1% extra every day and in every game. So we're gonna need that 1% from everybody.
I love you, Ryan. How big would it be for you guys, knowing that this starts on the road for you guys to just play well and at least get one of those two on the road in Maine?
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking the other day that run that we did have, we were the higher seed, and during that run, it felt like we were in the hotel for 5-6 days at a time with the 3 games on the road after the 2 home games. So we're excited to kind of do the opposite this year. Play one or 2 games in Maine, and then come home and then have the 3 home games in a row, and just hopefully we're obviously looking to win both, but just taking it one game at a time.
You mentioned those 3 home games. Just as a guy who's been around, know how much hockey means to this community. How excited are you and the boys to actually take home ice for playoff hockey once again?
Yeah, absolutely. You saw that atmosphere a couple years ago. How electric this town was. I talk about it all the time. You're outside the rink, you're going to the grocery store, you're at a restaurant, and people just want to come up and just say hi and give their 2 cents on the season and the postseason. So we're so excited to have that back. This town, certainly deserves playoff hockey and a championship for sure.
Mitchell Becker, a guy who just came in a couple weeks ago, makes the playoff roster. That's got to be huge for a kid who just coming out of college.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Bex has played well. He's done a really good job. Obviously, playing with him, he's my D partner for a handful of games, and I just like this game. He's a big body, strong, plays pretty simple, moves the puck up, and obviously a great kid as well.
How much is the physicality, the big guys like Graves and Edwards, Becker, Geraldo, how much does it help having just that kind of physicality against a team like Maine?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, you watch the NHL playoffs, and you see some star guys that are making $6 to $10 million that are throwing their body around, and if they can do it, obviously we can certainly be doing it. So I think it's going to take everyone. Obviously, it's nice to have those guys kind of driving the way there and lead by example, but it's going to take everyone just being physical and taking that extra hit or 2.
Tyson Fawcett, one of the guys who may have had the size, but he's not afraid to get into the physicality. He played great against me. How big of a depth piece is he going to be for you guys in this series?
Yeah, like I said, I think our depth is our strong suit for sure. We have up and down our lineup, we have guys that can score. Guys that are willing to play hard, play physical, and whatever's asked of them, they're going to do. So I think our depth is one of our strong parts for sure.
How big was it for you guys late in the season to kind of get that power play going in the PK starting a little here?
Absolutely, yeah. You see, special teams are always key in playoffs. Those games are so tight. It's always a close game or a tight game, and then it always comes down to maybe killing a penalty late or a late power play. So we're excited to see both of those excel.
What's the biggest key for you guys heading into this series?
Biggest keys? Yeah, I think, like I said, just not trying to overcomplicate it, right? Just stick with what's got us here and what makes us such a good team. Just playing that in-your-face, aggressive style and, just capitalizing on our chances when we get them.
We saw it last weekend in Worcester. How big of it does it help you guys just seeing how well these fans travel?
Yeah, it's absolutely it's amazing. All season it was absolutely outstanding. I don't know if it was the first month or the last month that was better. It just felt like all year it was, people were traveling, letting us know, morning skate that they're coming for the weekend on the road. And, it's unbelievable to see. You don't always see that with minor league sports fans willing to travel like that. And obviously, we look forward to seeing everyone on the road as well.
How big is this just not only for the team, but just for the city of Glens Falls after a disappointing year last year? They get back in the Kelly playoffs.
Yeah, like I said, I think this town deserves that for sure. Nothing short of that. I think that's the expectation every year, especially after that run 2 years ago. Just seeing what's possible and what these blue collar teams. I think that's our identity. Partially because I think that's this town's identity is that blue collar. Show up every day and work and just do your best. And I think it feeds directly into how our team plays. And like I said, I think this town deserves it. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.